building, the Nazzaro building, was formerly the North End Bathhouse, was constructed in the early 1900s and has had an extremely important history in North End community. So a lot of people have very fond and important memories of this building. So people came here to use it as a bathhouse. More recently, the kids in the neighborhood who have grown up in the neighborhood use this building for their activities when they were younger. So very important building to the North End. The Save the Nazzaro group was successful in a petition before the Boston Landmarks Commission, so that now this building is a pending Boston landmark. So that process is continuing. That process will preserve the exterior of this building. Assuming it's successful, and actually, as long as it's a pending landmark, there can't be any changes to the exterior of this building. On the other hand, the interior of this building could be renovated, changed, used for any sort of different use in the context of that pending landmark status. A couple weeks ago, the city presented to the North End community by Sasaki Associates, which is the city's consultant, the plan for the new North End Community Center, which the site they've selected, as most of you know, is over at the Mirabella Pool site. So that's a separate process, so that doesn't involve this building. But they will have a planning process for that community center. I think Maria said $3 million. So that's great for the community. And I think we're all very supportive of and know that the North End needs a big new community center that serves all of the needs of the community. But on the other hand, this building has been in the community in the North End for a very long time. It's always been used for community uses. And so one of the big concerns, I think, of the neighborhood is what's going to happen to this building when the community center is moved to a new community center. And there will be a city planning process that focuses on this building. And at the meeting with the city and Sasaki Associates, I think the city will, through the Public Facilities Department and BCYF, be looking for input from the community on that process. I think one thing that would be beneficial would be if that process could be started earlier, could be started now, while at the same time that the planning for the new community center is underway. We think that people should be looking at community uses for this building, however that works out. So one thing that we've been doing apart from the city's process, so this is completely separate from the city's process for either this building or the new community center, but we've had the Boston Architectural College's Gateway program come and talk with the North End community to just talk about what the potential future uses of this building should be, what the community would like to see here. And they will be at this building in the after-school room next Monday, the 13th, from 6 to 7 p.m. And they're still looking for input from the community on what people would like to see here. And I think it's very important, no matter how the process works. If the BAC meeting, the meetings relating to this building, that the community made clear what the community wants in this building. So writing letters, maybe have it, NEWRA wrote one letter, maybe NEWRA needs to write more letters about what people would like to see in this building. But in any event, that meeting is next Monday. Hopefully, if you're interested, you should come. But we will, at the end of that study, BAC will be compiling the results of their work, and we'll present that to the City of Boston, so that they can hopefully consider that as part of their process for the future of this building. Question?
Yeah, I have a question. I think the mayor said, and I don't remember where he said it, but I believe he said nothing would happen with this building until the new community center is built. Like, as in, they wouldn't try to dispose of it through any process.
Right.
I took that as a victory, like a wonderful thing, that they weren't trying to flip this building and sell it to a developer and make a bunch of money. I thought that was a great victory. Do you see it like that? I mean, I know we need to plan for what's gonna happen. I'm not trying to go against anything you're saying at all. But I do hope that the mayor meant that when he said it, and that really there are no plans for this.
So we did hear that. We also heard the mayor told Ellen Hume that he would like to see this building stay with at least some community uses, and I think one thing he mentioned was senior use of this building. So that's one thing he said. But when Sasaki and Associates was here, and when the Public Facilities Department were here, they started out, as a lot of you know, by talking about the disposition of this building. So whatever that means, that could mean, that could mean disposition to a different city agency. So that's one thing it could mean. It could also mean disposition to a third party. So I at least wasn't comfortable that they were committing to keep this building within the city.
Correct.
So I think that, that's something that, everybody needs to speak up. So if people want this building to remain for just community uses, remain owned by the city, there's also the potential that, as with other buildings, this building could be conveyed to a nonprofit. Now that could be a good result too, because the right nonprofit could also make community space available in this building. So there are a whole realm of possibilities. But during the meetings that we had when Sasaki was here, and the Public Facilities Department was here, I think toward the end of that meeting, they started to indicate that they would be willing to start the process for the consideration of what this building is used for in the future earlier than just finishing the new community center, vacating this building, and then letting it sit vacant and starting the process. One benefit of that is you would, while you're looking at what the uses are going to be in the new community center, you're also looking at what the continued uses could be in this building, so that everything works together. So maybe you have a gym in one place, an auditorium in another place, senior space in one or both places. But that's something that needs community pressure and community input.
And where is the meeting? That's on Monday?
Monday,
6 till 7?
after school room next door, right over there.
Okay.
In this building, 6 to 7 p.m.
I just wanted to comment that it does not seem unreasonable to use both spaces for recreational usage. The footprint for the new site is very small.
Yes.
It's very narrow. So to have two spaces, one for more passive use, such as meetings, and the other one for active physical education. So
Yeah,
it's very
it
reasonable.
certainly seems to make sense. And I think a lot of what we heard when we're listening with Boston Architectural College is that, there aren't just the individual community members that have uses for these different spaces. There's NEMPAC, there's the Elliott School, there's a lot of organizations that use these spaces. There are, these rooms are rented out sometimes for public functions. So if you structure it the right way, there's a ton of use. We all know the population of the North End is growing. We know there's a population in the West End that's growing that will impose a burden upon the resources in the North End as well. So we know there's more people. So, and we're talking about all this like 2 or 3 years down the road, and by then you have more use, more people. So you kind of have to plan for the future.
You know, it's interesting, if they didn't still have meetings here, I'm already thinking about, you know, what the schlep is to get over there for the meetings, you know, and the increase of that.
Yeah,
Which I think could have a negative effect if they didn't.
I couldn't, yeah, this is essentially located.
Any other questions for Kirsten before we wrap up?
What are the possibilities of this, the future of this building? Like, is there, can it go anywhere? Could it be condos? Could it be, you know?
So that's what, you know, that's, I think, what we're talking about. So before the process gets away from the community, I think it's really important for the community to have input. And if the community doesn't want it to be condos, and, you know, it sounds to me like the community doesn't want it to be condos, that everybody make themselves heard.
Well, as Jen pointed out, if you believe what our mayor has said on the record, he says he has no interest in selling the city's assets off to private developers, so.
Obviously, it's all about, you know, how can you support the use as a public space? Has anyone looked at, or is the BEC considering maybe adding some floors of senior affordable housing? I'm not talking about market rate condos or market rate apartments, but maybe there's a way to add some volume to the building with senior affordable apartments, kind of like what they're doing at Knights of Columbus, for example, and have the community space maintained but economically supported by
Yeah.
another use.
Yeah, that's, you know, that's a possibility too, although actually the landmarks designation, if it's successful, you know, you're gonna be very limited in
Okay.
exterior changes, including changes to the roof. The roof
Okay.
is actually very beautiful. But yeah, one thing BAC is looking at, and it may not be the favored approach, would be some uses in here that generate income. Like, for example, if you added a cooking facility and an auditorium, then you can rent the cooking facility you can rent function space, have a cooking facility, you can rent the auditorium, you can, you know, it makes it a more functional space, potentially making it. Another one of the city's concerns was staffing. They can't staff 2 facilities, so, but we're talking.
They're already
5
showing
years
us that by
down the road.
closing the Nazzaro Center on more hours because they can't staff it, right?
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
Yeah.
I have a question. Is there any protection for the surrounding districts that the basketball courts?
Yeah.
Okay, that's all part of it?
Yeah, that's part of the,
Okay.
funding landmark designation.
Any indication as to how long the process we're looking at moving from pending landmark status to official landmark status?
No, so pending landmark status is good, because it protects the exterior of the building. So where a building's not in danger of development, it can take a very long time. Like Commercial Wharf is another example in the North End, and a couple of the churches also are pending landmarks, but it can take quite a while to actually get landmark status. The difference there would be pressure from the public to make the landmark commission work faster.
Well, the community centers are definite on the Nazzaro approval?
It sounded definite. That, you know, that's not, you know, our purview, but yeah, it certainly sounded.
They're
definite.
taking, the consultants that were hired by the city have made a final recommendation, that being the Marabella location, that they're taking to City Hall for approval.
And that's just the waiting pool or the bathhouse too? Back to the fence.
I think from my understanding, and I was at the meeting, my understanding was that the bathhouse would be most impacted because a lot of the facilities that are currently being provided by the bathhouse would be replaced by the community center. All right, well, thank you very much for both of you.